That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Bluedragonfive.
And Jacob Guliver.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves on the cusp of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, even courting a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and make a rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And break out your Rabbit in a Snowstorm, people, because tonight we're talking Hawkeye Episode 2, Echoes, a.k.a. what the episode really should have been called. That has to be him, right?
Well, first of all, Episode 3. So
I'm sorry. We got the first 2 episodes last week. My bad. Seriously, This episode should literally just be called That Has to Be Him, right?
I'm going to be peeved if it... I mean, look, I know in my gut, man. I heard that chuckle. It's like, I know that chuckle because that's how season 1 ends.
I know.
That has to be
All
him.
right, so obviously, folks, the big headline happened, like, almost immediately into the episode. I've gone from, like maybe 60-70% sure Wilson Fisk is going to make an appearance to, if Wilson Fisk does not make an appearance, then Marvel is trolling us, and they are trolling us in a bad way. And
it's the cruelest tease that they've ever done.
It'll literally be a more cruel tease than the whole Ralph Boner thing, man. I swear to God.
Screw Mephisto. I don't care about Mephisto, okay?
What if it really does turn out to just be fucking Mephisto?
I'm going to be so upset.
Really? Oh, God.
Yeah, right, like the fly and everything, and this is the time you do it now.
All right, so we've got Jacob Guliver here. How you doing, Jacob? Nice to see you again. Always nice to check in on you whenever the Marvel stuff comes out.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Excited to be back. Thanks for having me.
Did you survive Spider Monday okay, Jacob?
I don't know what that is, but sure.
Did you get your Spider-Man tickets?
I did not get my Spider-Man tickets. I am terrified to go to a theater right now.
Oh, okay.
Caseload is very high in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's understandable for sure.
Things are going to get more dicey from the sounds of things. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Again, I ask, why did Curb Your Enthusiasm have to shy away from the pandemic stuff this season? I don't know. It's like we got the brief mention of it in episode 1, and then they're just acting like it's not existing. Whatever. Anyway, it's not the topic for that. Gulliver, so really quick, what do you think of the first 2 episodes? Just what are your overall feelings on Hawkeye so far, including
We're halfway through.
Episode? In general, I'm enjoying it. I think Hawkeye is a character we haven't gotten many longer beats with yet. So I think it's been really valuable to get some of those and see how he differs from the other heroes, getting to see his moments kind of shying away from the spotlight and not wanting to be center stage, and how that kind of plays out in his own show is really fun. But then you've got this character that, Kate Bishop, who really wants to be center stage. She's really trying to, go out of her way to, get some attention and, be like Hawkeye, and him fighting that simultaneously is a pretty good, enjoyable dynamic.
Well, thank you, Gulliver. I'm Kate Bishop. I'm so glad you noticed me.
Yeah, I mean, she's
all right,
she's
guys.
She was.
Yeah, you say that, and yet you've done it again. So I don't trust you at all at this point.
Fair enough.
You little spider monkey. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. I think the beginning was a little bit on the slower side, just kind of like getting it. I don't know what the purpose of the whole bell tower thing was particularly, other than to show that she doesn't care a whole lot. But other than that, I've been really enjoying most of it. I think the dynamic is really good, and they've done a lot to showcase how Hawkeye is feeling at any given moment without him necessarily saying exactly what he's thinking in his head, which is hard to do. So I appreciate the visual storytelling that's happening, and I really appreciate that they went for the canon hard of hearing Hawkeye as well. So yeah, overall, I'd say I'm in for the ride here. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm curious to see where they go with the rest of this series.
But not the 72 Challenger. We can't damage that in the ride.
Right.
All right. So episodes 1 and 2 for me were really, really dicey. I think I was probably one of the harshest critics of them on the internet, if I'm being honest. I said they felt like kind of like mid-tier Marvel Netflix affairs. Like, like, I don't know, like there were some breadcrumbs of intrigue. Of course, Jeremy Renner is always Jeremy Renner. He's always going to have it's always going to be a good time when he's on screen. Guys, episode 3 might be the biggest step up in a show that I've seen in a while. I mean, this was like night and day. Where episodes 1 and 2, it was a lot of setup. It was a lot of like Gulliver. I totally agree with you about the bell tower thing. That's the whole origin of the look at me. I'm Kate Bishop. I'm going to show off because I'm a better archer than you. But
I think I think maybe you just don't resonate with like young adult characters. I think that may just be like a Tiki thing. And that's okay. It's not a criticism of you. It's just an observation.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, Gulliver, I'm just kind of I'm now that
You're
I've
taking a pot
30,
shot at Obadiah Stane. What's wrong with that? He did bad stuff. Let's destroy his bell.
Look, I'm just saying. Now that I've turned 30, I'm kind of like I feel like I'm kind of like in like get off my lawn mode towards like
you're a young old man.
Yes, yep. Exactly. All right, that guy's here. He says I'm late, but that guy never disappoints. No, you don't. And that guy, I'm just going to shout you out again, my friend. This man spent 2.5 hours with us last night doing the movie memoirs thing. So my God, that guy, you are definitely an MVP of our community right now, buddy.
Nice.
So. All right. I thought this was a night and day difference. I really did. I loved the opening action scene. I thought the chase was everything that I wanted it to be, everything that it was hyped up to be. There were a few surprises along the way that even elevated it. Great action scene. Maybe, I would say maybe that was the best action scene of the MCU in all of 2021. I'd be pretty comfortable to say that right now.
Well, I mean, the bus scene's
besides Shang-Chi. Yeah, Shang-Chi is kind of in its own category. That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's up there.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the
finale in Shang-Chi, and in case there's any spoilers, I won't say what happens, but the finale with the big battle in Talo is really good.
Sure.
As well.
But I think after that, the rest of the episode is just good, solid character development for Clint and for Kate Bishop. And I love, can't emphasize this enough, love the hard of hearing stuff of Clint. I think it's played really realistically. Yeah. Of course, Dragon, you and I have a friend from the podcast who's hard of hearing herself, so I definitely was glad to see that sort of culture represented very well here.
The ASL community and such.
Yeah. So I'm sure that Gabby's going to be happy about that. I'm going to be curious to get her takes on the show.
And hopefully the Gabs approves.
Yeah. But yeah, I really, really like that a lot. I think it's like the scene that won Kate Bishop over to me was a phone call. Like after that, I'm like, okay, Kate Bishop, I can't make fun of you anymore. You're a good person. You've earned your good card. And then bam, Tony Dalton cliffhanger. Love it. So yeah, guys, I'm on board now. Episodes 1 and 2, I do really think were a rocky start. I think they were probably the rockiest start that we've had so far to one of these Marvel Disney Plus shows. But I really feel like they evened it out in the 3rd episode, and now that we've got a good kind of a good primer going on for the Hawkeye Kate Bishop relationship, I really think the next 3 are going to blow us out of the park, and with any luck we're going to be seeing a certain someone very soon. So all right, Dragon, what do you think?
I thought this was a great episode. I think it's the standout so far, and very appropriately at the halfway point, which I think is kind of like the hopeful determining factor with a lot of the the MCU Disney Plus shows at this point. Like you're hoping that by the halfway mark, we're in good stand. Like if anyone's unsure, they're going to be okay. We're comfy and cozy now. We're going to be just fine. But this is a great introduction to the Echo character. Which again, I'm going. I mean, I know the big things with Echo. I don't really know all the ins and outs, so I'm getting to kind of know her as a character through this show, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. The action, very much kind of straight out of the book, but kind of with a little bit of the MCU stamp with certain things that happen during the action sequence. So I had a lot of fun with it with the car chase. I think the ending absolutely makes you want more. I was like,
totally.
It's like that cliffhanger. It's like, no, don't end it there. I want more. No, because I'm having such a great time. But it was, yeah. I think three hit it right out of the park. And obviously, the thing that we tee up, I was geeking out like a schoolgirl. I was like, just like sucked all the air out of the room when I heard that chuckle and I saw that sleeve. It's like, oh god.
Right.
All right, so I guess transitioning into the Echo stuff. So
yeah, so one thing I really want to point out is I believe it was her father, right, that gets killed.
Yeah.
Yes, Willie. Well, I think in the comic his name's something like Willie Crazy Horse Lincoln or something like that. I don't know if they changed his name or not.
I just think that guy did a killer amount of work in a very limited amount of screen time, man, because I like right from the get-go, I was just like, I totally buy this relationship. I buy that this is like an awesome father. I buy how devastated it would be to lose him.
Yeah, very strong performance. And the line about not being able to afford the special school, the expression on his face said so much.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it was like looking into years of baggage, just with a brief 2-second expression on his face. Fantastic performance.
This is going to be strong praise, but it's kind of like in the Cliff Robertson school of like doing a ton with a very limited amount of screen time.
Seriously,
like really making an impression.
Seriously, how great is Cliff Robertson in the original?
Well, yes, Dragon, he's great. We've already established.
I know. I'm seriously every time I just think the death scene is
take my hand.
I know it's one of the most prolific death scenes ever. It's just oh my god. Anyway.
But now I realize that there's two Marvel, like very dramatic Marvel scenes about a Peter taking someone's hand.
And they're both great. We
how did I not make that connection before?
Now if we can just get another one in the because there's two Peters in the MCU, we can do another one with Peter Parker and we'll be good.
What if it's Peter Parker and Peter Quill?
I mean, I'd be down for it, but because the only time they'd really interacted was when Peter Quill was holding him at gunpoint in Infinity War. Anyway, so let me tell you my favorite thing about rewatching the episode with the Echo opening is I love how we parallel her both to Clint and Kate Bishop.
Totally, of course,
Kate, we parallel her with Clint, with very much with the handicap and the hearing loss. And the big thing with Kate, and I think it's so fascinating, is that they both kind of lost their father adjacent to an event with Hawkeye, where with Clint Barton, where of course with Clint Barton with Hawkeye it was in a heroic capacity during she lost her father, and ergo the father figure mentor comes and saves her and saves the day and inspires her. And of course on the Echo side of the fence, this interpretation of which I'm loving it so far with this is that Ronan kills her father. I think it's such a brilliant adaptation to make of like, okay, so Ronan's killed her father. That's why she's in the Hawkeye show. That's why she's, that's how she's bonded to him. And obviously, we're gonna have a collision course once it comes to light who Ronan is, and that's gonna maybe give Kate Bishop a little bit of pause, a little bit of like seeing the gray that's in the midst of things here. I'm loving our storytelling here so far. It's been really great. Also, we did like the bloody hand. See, her whole thing, she has like this face paint kind of a handprint on her face because when her father died, he basically put the bloody hand on her face. So we did that identically, here where in his last dying moments, he kind of the bloody handprint. It's great. So she's very much dead set on a revenge story as she's kind of carrying out, kind of operations for her uncle, which we should talk about just a little bit more. So the speculation on the uncle. So obviously Echo has Kingpin ties in the comic, and they've changed things a little bit here. But again, saying that there's this uncle figure who's basically commanding the tracksuit mafia, and basically she's a lieutenant working for the uncle running the operations. We see her at this karate tournament. This figure chuckles as is like pinching her cheek, and again, that Daredevil fight at the end of season 1, where he laughs at Daredevil's face about you think a man in a silly costume can change things. That's him. I know it in my bones. That's him. Some people have pointed out the cufflinks. I've tried freeze framing it. It's not definitive. If the cufflinks, Tiki, may possibly be the same cufflinks from season 1. They may be. I can't prove it because it's a little obscured, but if it is, it all tracks.
Oh, man.
It'd be wonderful. He's in the black suit because he doesn't go through the transition when he meets Vanessa yet, because that was in 2007.
Oh my god.
And further evidence of this: the garage, the repair, the repair shop. It's the Fat Man garage. It's the Fat Man repair shop. Hawkeye says you don't want to mess with the guy at the top. There's a reputation.
Exactly.
I think firmly assuming it is the Kingpin, which I'd say at a 60, it is now at a 95.
All right. Yeah.
Echo, just to pull that guy's comment in here. So we are getting the Echo spinoff, which I don't know if we've talked about this much, Tiki, but one of the Better Call Saul writers will be working on the Echo series, which is great. Now, I will make this delineation, though. Not one of the lead writers from Better Call Saul, one of the writers in the rooms, like one of the guys we don't talk about on a regular basis, though. So,
well, it's like maybe this will be his big break, Dragon. Who knows?
No. I'm down for that. I'm just want to make the distinction. That's why you and I we can't really pull the name of who the guy is, who the he or she is. I think it's a female. I'm not sure. I can't recall. But regardless, it's cool to get some Better Call. We already have some Better Call Saul in this show. Let's get Better Call Saul in the other MCU shows. Why not? But I'll tell you, I've had a big theory about if we ever did, Kingpin in the MC, what we could do, and I think we could very easily do in the Echo show. Just given where we left things off with Daredevil and the Kingpin season 3, how is he getting back in organized crime and everything? Well, 5 years passed. Vanessa with child, maybe. Young Richard Fisk, who knows? Disappeared in the snap. Broke the deal between him and Daredevil. He got out. He got back on top, and now he's operating on top again.
Yeah, very possible.
Assuming that they keep the Marvel MCU or Marvel Netflix shows canon.
I know that's the thing. It's still we got to see how.
Yeah, that's honestly going to be the really interesting thing about Wilson Fisk is
right.
Because I feel like with the J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson thing, I feel like it's the same character played by the same actor, not in the same universe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of speculation with the other Spider-Man too is that if they really wanted to, like, why does Doc Ock look a hair different? Well, okay, maybe he's like from an almost identical universe to Spider-Man too, so it's possible. Anyway, so regardless, I mean, it's. That's why the cufflink thing has been kind of highlighted, Tiki, because if those cufflinks are the same cufflinks, that's a big that implies, man, if they're doing the cufflinks down to the littlest detail, perhaps.
Oh yeah, totally.
All of that happened, which is like the absolute best case scenario. So I mean, that's why I'm desperate. Or
maybe they're putting in those kinds of details to make you think that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of cruel, but I mean, it's possible.
Oh, man. I mean, like I said, straight up, if this isn't Kingpin, then this is a bigger troll move than Ralph Boner, and I think it's a step too far.
Yep. But so here's the thing, too. I mean, one last thing, we'll get off the Kingpin stuff, because I know there's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
But last thing, real quick.
We're literally taking like 15 minutes to dissect like a 5-second interaction.
It's important, darn it. All right, so regardless, again, Echo possibly being, like her making the transition from villain to anti-hero once she kind of learns the truth and makes peace with Hawkeye, perhaps, or gets some sort of closure. And I'm thinking, again, a lot of people have been speculating that's going to be our backdoor Daredevil season 4, but I think ultimately it'll be perhaps, she reconciles that, hey, my uncle is not a cool guy after all. He corrupted my father and set him down the path that got him killed by Ronan.
Right.
Ronan isn't really entirely the bad guy here. That again, maybe Daredevil turns her head a little bit on that. Who knows? I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. Regardless, cool stuff. Fingers crossed. I don't expect to see the Kingpin until the end of the season or a post-credit scene at the very end. That's what I'm expecting in terms of if we see D'Onofrio.
I'm hoping he has I'm hoping he has good FaceTime in the finale. That
would be wonderful. At least give him a full scene versus a post-credit scene. That's the most I could possibly expect, honestly. But
I have an important question for you guys.
What do you got?
What if it is the Kingpin?
Yeah,
but it's a different actor. How would you feel about it?
Has to be.
I would be crestfallen. I really would be.
Okay.
Unless they got James Spader, it has to be D'Onofrio.
No, it's not going to be James Spader.
Yeah, he's already been Ultron, so
that's
he's
what I'm
not gonna,
saying. So that's my point.
Yeah,
Unless something
Gulliver.
that.
If it was honestly even if it was like a really like mind blowing actor, like oh my god, they got fucking Tom Hanks. I mean, that's a really random pull, but
yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't matter how
the
big.
What if it's like?
Man,
what if it's like Bryan Cranston or like somebody with like a lot of
Dragon? What do you think? If it was fucking
energy.
Cranston instead of D'Onofrio, would you be peeved?
Cranston would have to put on a lot of weight.
or a fat suit or Marvel money CGI, whatever.
That's what I'm saying, but I mean, would you really want to go to that? You have D'Onofrio sitting in the corner wanting to get back in the game. Would you really go to those lengths? Like,
yeah, I don't. I can't see that happening. I really can't.
I'm just spitting a hypothetical, and I don't know what's going to come or whether we're actually going to get anything more definitive. I'm just saying, what happens in you guys' mind, because you guys are clearly more attached to this idea than I am. And I'm open to it, absolutely, but I just wanted to see what you guys were thinking.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, D'Onofrio is my heart of hearts, what I want. I think what a lot of people want. But if they got an actor who's going to do a really good job, it'll always be like the second best. It'll be, well, this is good, but we know for a fact it could be better. But still, I mean, if they get a guy who's going to do a great job, it's the fact that we get a Kingpin in a Spider-Man movie or series down the line. I mean, that'll be cool, but just still not quite the same anyway. Getting back onto some Hawkeye stuff.
Yes.
To the car chase.
So one interesting thing about Echo that I was kind of putting away in my mind as far as her role in the plot goes is isn't this kind of the same role that we thought Yelena was going to sort of play? The person who's going after Hawkeye, who's kind of disattached from the rest of the story, who's
I have a theory. Okay, very simple. I think here's what I think is going to happen. Either at the end of the next episode or just at the go for 5. I mean, I'm thinking we're going to it'll be like the cliffhanger of next episode, and then basically 5 will be all about this. I just love the idea we have Elena in the chamber and that we're going to introduce her probably.
I honestly kind of forgot about it until someone brought it up, but yeah, it's she's waiting to go,
Yeah, it's like Elena's just gonna pop in there right the most inconvenient time and just gonna blow things up. And what she's gonna blow up, and what I really what I assume is gonna happen, what I'm theorizing, is that her gumming up the works hey, Kate's in a good place with Clint right now, and perhaps Echo for a moment is she's either convinced, okay, these guys, they're not Ronin, but or something. And then of course Elena shows up and she's going to spill the beans that, oh yeah, Hawkeye is Ronin, and he's responsible.
Oh, I could totally see that.
And under the misnomer, he killed my sister, and killed your sister, he killed my father. Let's get this guy. And Kate's my hero, what happened? No. So
Lawrence Pugh, no.
So that of course ultimately might lead to kind of the heart to heart and just kind of the whole Hawkeye explaining the survivor's guilt and passing on the mantle. I think it's where we're going to refocus things for the finale. So that's what I think is going to happen. That's my big prediction for the season, how Elena's going to come into things. Of course, the big question I think people are kind of fearing is the division of jamming. We have 3 really solid. We have 3 potentially solid storylines in this season, and only 6 episodes. Because we have the Swordsmaster story. Swordsman. Sorry, wrong thing. We have the Swordsman. We got Elena. We got Echo. All very much tied to our 2 protagonists, and I mean 2 stories. That's cake. But 3, it's I don't know.
I'm worried. I am worried there. Yeah.
But Elena, though, is it should be an episode-long clarification if done right. So by that logic, I mean, Elena could be cracked out, and then we just focus things back to how those 2 stories reconcile each other. But again, how's the Jack story, tie into the Echo story outside of kind of how we ended this episode? So hopefully we're going to be able to follow that track, and things are going to go well. That's what I'm hoping for, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so can we talk about that car chase?
Yes.
So I don't want to bury the lead any longer. Giant arrow.
Yeah.
I love that with 3 episodes in a row, we've had an Ant-Man reference. Yes, and I love it.
You know what? Honestly, I don't need to see Paul Rudd pop up because I feel we don't need I feel the presence of the franchise in it,
Yeah, I mean, I love that from one gag in Civil War, we've just kind of built up this whole history between him and Ant-Man. It's just so funny. Just the idea of like him calling him Arrow Guy really stuck in his craw. So every time Ant-Man pops up, there's like, but again, also kind of an homage. Hey, I had that really sweet team-up move with Ant-Man where he called me Arrow Guy. I'm going to use it to use it on an arrow. It's going to work tremendously.
So yeah, I really think this chase scene, it was filmed great. I think the camera movement was wonderfully was wonderfully fluid.
Yeah, I got a one in there.
You did. I really do like the back and forth with the arrows and stuff, and then of course the added complication of Clint not being able to hear.
Such a genius idea for an action set piece where this is Kate's first time with trick arrows, and Clint can't hear, and he's driving a car at breakneck speeds. As there a bunch of Russian tracksuited gunman in
and I'm going to give you this, Dragon. The tracksuit mafia just visually looks great in this chase scene, so I'm warming up to it.
That's what I'm saying. That's the whole. And this is like one of the.
They're straight out of the Fraction Ager run. So.
Yeah, like this whole sequence, particularly, is like one of the flagship moments from that, that story. So it's kind of like this scene was a big deal in many ways, shapes, and forms.
I mean, in a lot of ways, this scene almost kind of feels like a theme park ride. You know what I mean?
That was a fun ride for sure. Yeah,
with like all the different mafia people like coming at you from the different angles and weaving around, trying to avoid them. Yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, I of course me, I'm a gadget nut, and also that kind of extends the trick arrows. So again, I love all the gadgety arrows that we got, like the putty arrow, which I love the purple theming. I love Hawkeye went full tilt with the purple theming. So it's
totally.
Purple smoke bombs, and I had like of course the USB arrow is just a running gag in the MCU. For some reason, everyone had. I don't know why people had a problem with it in Avengers, because I kind of liked it. I liked the USB
I enjoyed
arrow.
it too.
And then of course it pays off big time in the What If show.
Yeah.
So the USB is making a comeback with that arrow, and of course again the pin park was like a yes, oh my god, yes! It's such an exciting moment when he shoots that pin particle arrow.
It's great. Yeah,
the cable arrows, so many cool arrows, and also I really liked kind of thematically. The last arrow, when he's out of arrows, when Hawkeye's out of arrows, he does the cool money shot move from Avengers, which is when he met Kate Bishop, technically, in the first place, when she was inspired on. So I like that kind of brings them together. It's a full circle payoff there, where, he does the grappling thing onto the, and then the plunger arrow. Yeah.
Yep.
Really nice. Let's see.
Then,
the Christmas music was really
for sure. And I love how the different like impacts to the car like change the
dance to the Sugar Plum Fairies.
Yeah,
the very rocked up version.
Yeah. Can I show the most ridiculous criticism I've heard about this episode?
Yeah,
sure.
So look, I've been on like the Geekvolution Discord, and I love these guys to pieces. But the MCU shows, I think people are splitting hairs on certain things. This is where I'm going to throw my hands up at this point. Obviously. Honestly, I heard a lot of positive reception the first two episodes, and then of course when Tiki kind of goes on, I'm like, oh my god, how would none of this come up? But so episode 3 happens, everyone's loving it, but one person, I won't throw him under the bus because anyway, this one person points out, I mean, I love the scene, I love the chase sequence, but I was taken out of the episode by the CG, like the terrible CG during the chase. Like, the trick arrows.
It's not bad. I mean, I don't think it's
not
necessarily at the same level that it would be if it was a movie, but it's
it's not enough to take a big strike against the episode, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm saying, like, wait, you mean that? So let me get this straight. The trick arrows.
I wonder
the
if believability
of the trick arrows are not wowing you. I mean, like, all respect due to this person, like, come on, man, the trick arrows take you out of the episodes. Hawkeye, it's this whole thing.
Yeah. And I mean, there have been other shows that have had that issue too. With like, I'm thinking of like the first big like sky chase fight scene in Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's definitely a few like a little rough CG moments in that, and there's like some of the extended magic scenes in WandaVision had that too. But, like, whatever, like just suspend your disbelief a little.
I mean, it's like a bunch of
follow the story. Let the if it's not good, that's fine. But like, I like the special effects in the original pre remaster Star Wars. Like, they're not good, but I still like it.
Yeah.
I'm so desensitized to anything CG nowadays. I really like the small difference in like that and like movie quality is like it barely even registers with me, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So to wrap around to some of your earlier points, Tiki. Clint and Kate's bonding this episode is really great, and there's that sweet moment where Clint, being hearing impaired at the moment, he cannot communicate with his son, and
I
Kate
love
helps
that
out.
moment, man. I really do. Like I said, that moment was like, okay, I can stop making fun of Kate Bishop now. She's won me over.
I mean, the bit that really gets me in that scene is Haley Steinfeld, how she plays just Kate now just getting the cost of holding up her hero here for the holidays. Like, I've taken him away from his family on Christmas with my shenanigans here. Like, oh no.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of seeing her arc forming there. 'Cause at the beginning, she's this very,
gung-ho.
She's a kind of a spoiled rich kid who's really good at a lot of stuff, always kind of gotten away with whatever she wants to get away with because of her privilege and her skill. And she's starting to finally see like, oh yeah, there are consequences for the stuff that I can do and that you can't buy your way out of, or you can't skill your way out of. She's starting to kind of understand that, this is the real world cost, like you were saying there, Dragon. So I do think that they're trying to show that arc, and I would give them credit for doing so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great moment in this episode when they're at the diner, and I think it's when they're at the diner. It's like somewhere around there where Clint makes the point that there's a cost to this work, and I think it's kind of sinking in with that sort of realization to her. Perhaps like over time, it's kind of starting to sink in. Obviously, when the real heavy stuff, like, oh my God, you've murdered people. That's I think it's going to definitely, there is a cost, especially when you disappear for 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really quick, can I just say, because I wasn't on the last episode, I enjoyed the scene with the LARPing.
I really wanted to know what you thought about the LARPing scene because Tiki and I were kind of
that is way more in your world than it is mine, Gulliver. So if you respect it, then I respect it, man.
You liked it?
Yeah, I know a number of people who like to LARP, and that is pretty true to the experience, from what I understand. I have not done LARPing myself, but I think he was fun. I think he's kind of got a little of the real world and a little of the fantasy world. I think the real world was maybe a little heavier than I wanted for that character, but whatever. I like that he has like the balls to ask Hawkeye to like play along with the game, even though like. He's clearly intimidated by him. I think it creates an interesting conflict, and seeing Hawkeye go through that battle, and through the whole process of getting into the LARP and everything, and just like putting his pride aside to do all this stuff is pretty enjoyable. But like all the little detail that went into the LARP, I appreciated as a big nerd. So. Yeah.
Let's see.
Less combat than or there'd be more combat than would typically be in a LARP, from my understanding. That would be more role play. Just no combat.
Okay.
But
all
anyway.
Right, so we got an Easter egg this episode, the Hawkeye suit. It was a drawing, but it's like, hey, we had a Hawkeye respond like, why wouldn't he wear a mask like that? Well, because his wife would divorce him if he wore a mask like that. I mean, look, I know there's no possible way they're going to fit this in. There's no way it would make sense. Like, there's no way that they're going to put that mask on him. But it's nice at least we mentioned it. I would have killed.
The only possible way I could see that happening is if they do like the WandaVision route and have like an episode set around Halloween.
Well, no, honestly, the practical way.
Obviously, it's Christmas, so it's like we need to do like a flash forward in the finale or something.
I mean, look, the practical way you do that Hawkeye costume is if we again, we don't know if we're going to go this way, especially with how we've changed up Swordsman here. Is if we're well, I mean, it's a cliffhanger, so we don't know if it's like, wait a minute, I know you, which I don't think they're going to do that. Let's just say they do. Regardless, Hawkeye's, if they do the circus background on Hawkeye, that's the way you put him in the costume. You put him, but obviously, I don't think we're going to do that now since he's called out the mask. We can't have the mask look exactly like that if you
right, yeah,
it's too coincidental. So I think we've just I'm getting the sense we're not doing the circus stuff at all. I'm thinking that. Yeah, that was cool to see it. Regardless, anyway, yeah. Sorry, Gulliver, did you want to say something?
No, I was just agreeing with you. I'm on the same page.
Cool. So let's talk about that butterscotch.
I feel like that's a tease. I feel like he knows that she was there. Handing off or offering her the butterscotch, and just to like see her reaction, watch her squirm a little bit.
I think your that's theory there. I didn't think about that. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all board for Tony Dalton here. I'm like, that cliffhanger was honestly kind of brutal. It's like, there he is, and we're gonna cut.
And again, he's threatening Hawkeye with his own sword, the Roman sword. Oh, how poetic! Can you imagine if they do like a Dora Milaje thing with Elena when if she just comes in right in the midst of that discussion?
Oh, I could totally see that. I could totally see that.
It's like,
that's
hey,
honestly
what's going on?
Tone they've already set up for that character,
and it would be the same episode too, like episode.
It
4,
would be, yeah.
Actually, no, wait, that might have been 5. Regardless, it's close. Anyway, it's in the back half. Regardless, so let's see. So, also, I mean, in general too, I love Echo. Echo pointing. Here's something I didn't know about Echo at all. I didn't know that she, she was an amputee. I didn't know she was missing a leg. I don't know if that's from I assume that's from the comic. It's a weird pull if it's not,
I didn't remember it from the comic, but it's possible that the actor has a disability and they just went with it.
That's a cool choice, though. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
We've added a lot of kind of cool things you don't see every day with Echo. We have a Native American character who's deaf, who's basically, to my knowledge, basically second to Taskmaster, the most observant fighter in the MCU, and technically the MCU's Taskmaster was a computer program, so it doesn't even really count. So yeah, one was skilled fighters and just kind of working with a handicap between that and the thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just again, I like that she imparts a lesson in communication, which definitely bleeds into that card chase. Like, hey, we're communicating, during the scene there. It's kind of enlightening to see, Hawkeye is be educated by his foe at this point, and it kind of coming through really nicely throughout the episode.
All right,
and he had a clever plan with that Black Widow killed Ronin story. I believed it. He's not lying because she brought him out of the Ronin stuff, so that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else we need to get in there, guys?
Comments, Tiki? Should we?
Yeah, executives in here. He says Della Duck made me respect disabled people a lot. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That guy says, yeah, by the end we'll know that Clint will see the value of purple.
Yep.
By the end, Clint's going to be the kid in the Sunny D commercial and the Dave Chappelle joke that's like, I want that purple stuff.
Well, we know what Clint Barton's favorite Spielberg movie is.
Oh God, yeah. Oh Jesus Christ.
Oh man.
It's like Clint and Marie just become best friends.
Oh God, wouldn't that be great? Just seeing Marie Schradersley just run into Clint's arms, give him a big hug, like, "Oh, it's you, Clint!
Oh my God,
go shopping!"
Yeah.
How are the kids? Let's go shopping. And by shopping, she means shoplifting.
I just did a search into.
To be honest, I forgot LARPing was a real thing. I thought it was a myth created by TV.
It's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
Tis a real thing. I did a little bit of Googling, and Alakwa Cox, who plays Echo, does indeed have a prosthetic lower leg.
So that's really cool. They just went with it then.
Yeah, they just went with it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Cool.
That's great. A lot of shows will not cast folks with prosthetics in
totally.
action roles, so it's great that they're willing to do that.
Being cast
very important.
Yeah.
Dragon, any other comments that you're I do like, this is from a while ago, but I like that guy's theory. Basically what he's throwing out here is that the Spider-Man freshman home show or freshman home.
Homeroom.
Christ.
So,
I just realized it's going to be the first MCU Spider-Man thing without fucking home in the title. Good job, guys.
yeah.
Spider-Man freshman year. Basically, what I'm getting from this is that there's going to be something that goes down there that's connected to the Kingpin that'll lead into the new college trilogy.
Well, regardless, freshman year would I think what that guy's saying is like freshman year is going to focus on the street level stuff, which would lead into the some Kingpin stuff, perhaps.
Which I think that's a good theory. I think
that's what I want from Spider-Man in general. I mean, whether again, even if we do like kind of the college years going forward, it's like getting scaling Spider-Man down. Again, perfect world, we do a show with Spider-Man, which we're kind of doing, kind of in that 6-month gap. Which is it's a step in the right direction. But in a perfect world, maybe one day we get a live action Spider. Again, it's a long shot with the Sony, obviously. If they ever see this guy for the kind of clear their heads here and they say, hey, let's let them do a Disney Plus show with Spider-Man in live action. Maybe do the Kingpin story for an arc. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got one last thing to bring up unless you see any comments.
Well, that guy says the MCU has never had a Taskmaster. They had a very generic fella that happens to have the same powers.
Sadly.
And then I want Spider-Man and Daredevil versus Kingpin in the MCU. We all do, Executive. We all do. That would be wonderful. Hell, throw in Punisher while you're at it.
I mean, I mean, honestly, Spider-Man.
Honestly.
Punisher meeting Spider-Man would be great.
Yeah,
again, fun fact, Tom Holland and John Bernthal, they helped each other get their roles in the MCU.
I mean, I don't think people talk enough about how good John Bernthal was in that role. Like, I would like to see him back, too.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've heard, also, like, not as heavy as the recent, Daredevil and Kingpin stuff, of course, but, the third runner in terms of the most talked up has been the Punisher, has been John Bernthal making a return as the Punisher. I mean, beyond that, I think a fourth would be Jessica Jones, and we'll kind of go from there, but we'll see.
Poor Luke Cage, man.
Look, I keep telling you, do a Heroes for Hire show. That's how you bring back both Luke Cage and Iron Fist and kind of fix it from there.
Don't bring back Iron Fist.
Dragon. Anything else?
Yes, one last thing.
Yeah.
So now we have Gulliver. I want to put it to you and maybe the folks in the comments here. So. I've heard a really interesting theory. So, of course, it's always been up in the air, and they teed up at the top in those first 2 episodes last week. Avengers Tower has been brought up yet again, that it has indeed been bought, as we kind of knew in Spider-Man Homecoming, and there are many people who could have potentially been the buyers. So many people speculate Reed Richards turning into the Baxter Building, which is great. Of course, we saw an alternate universe thing where Kang the Conqueror bought it. Many people back there in Spider-Man assume Norman Osborn, which again, it's possible. Imagine if like Norman Osborn is like inspired by like a multiversal Norman Osborn. We introduce him after that Spider-Man movie. I mean, it's not off the table. But the ones brought up this recently. What if the Kingpin, who, if you recall, had an awesome like building practically in the I forget if it was literally in the Empire State Building or not in the Spider-Man animated series. He had this building that was kind of his base of operations, which we basically did we did something like it with the Presidential Hotel in Daredevil season 3. So I mean, we essentially did it there, but we could do it like literally from like full on if we give them Avengers Towers. What do you guys think? Who do you think might be? What would you put your money on?
I would lock on Fisk right now.
Yeah, if we're following the path, I would say it's probably Fisk, but
that's the thing. Would Tony Stark sell it?
Yeah.
You have to assume Tony Stark would not sell it to Wilson Fisk, but someone buying it on behalf of Wilson Fisk, if that were the case, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, but let me say this:
Happy
probably would. Happy would probably not do the research and just like. He'll give us the most money. He'll give us the most money. We'll take this bid. This is good bid.
By the same token, okay, here's the thing, though. Happy Hogan, I mean, he was all about like checking the security and the badges and everything. That said, he did really screw the pooch in Homecoming. We didn't listen to anyone saying, hey, listen, someone's trying to steal stuff from Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And, obviously that kind of what these Spider-Man had to save his job on that one. So, good point.
Left field choice. I'm going to say that I bought it. I'm going to turn it into a big theme park. Tiki's going to help me with some of the designs because I don't know theme parks that well.
Disney's going to sue us.
Yeah.
All right, Gulliver, speaking of your personal endeavors, man, is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, I would definitely recommend checking out Hot Chocolate Media. It's my production company that myself and several other local Minnesota folks work on. Our current venture is a original horror podcast called Dead North. And we're going to be having a 12 Days of Christmas horror show coming up pretty soon here. This will be a new piece of horror content coming out every day for 12 days. You can subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts, and it'll be pretty cool. There'll be additional episodes coming out in the near future as well.
Right. And of course, big thanks to that guy and executive for joining us this evening. And thank you as well, Dragon. Always nice to have you.
Well, yeah, let's thank Gulliver too.
And Gulliver, of course.
Happy to be here.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mano a mano. Just Plus. And us.
We're communicating.
If I'm not Wilson Fisk, I'm gonna bang your head against a car door.
Mr.